Joel, how are you today, man?
I'm feeling great. How about yourself, Arthur?
I'm doing good. I wish I could be in sunny Miami, Florida right now, but DC, it ain't too bad out here today. It ain't too bad.
Yeah, I definitely don't miss that weather.
So you born and bred in the DMV, but also I want you to take everybody back to the DRC. You
Oh,
weren't supposed to be here, man.
right, right. Now it was I came from a Congolese household. Um, I came back to the United States in '99. So in the midst of me living in Congo, I was living in the Civil War, where
Wow.
5 million people died and I survived.
How did that affect your life moving forward?
Well, it taught me to persevere through other challenges that came with life. You know what I mean? Especially with going to college, being the first person to go to college, having that pressure, that being that first generation kid, you know what I mean? Um, having foreign parents who didn't speak English. So I kind of had to take over and really be like, figure things out on my own.
When did you realize like this is real? Your parents didn't speak English. You're in a foreign country that's under attack. I remember we had a conversation one time where you said you were ducking bullets. What was that real life impact for you back in the day?
Well, sad, but it was a norm around that time. You know, when it first happened, I was really scared. So I remember my mom hid me and my little sister under the bed. Like it would happen every other week. It got to a point where it became a norm. So my mom was like, all right, under the bed, and we kind of knew what to do. It was crazy, man. It was crazy. And it's crazy. I was 4 years old and I still remember like vividly those little moments. I remember it vividly.
Wow.
Yeah,
Hiding under the bed every night. We're talking about ducking bullets. We're talking
yeah.
about wars going on around you. But fortunately, you migrate over to the US and you get out of all that. And somehow, some way, you said, I want to become a teacher after all of this that's happened in your life. Why teaching?
Funny story, and a lot of people don't know this story. So when I was in Congo, my mother told me this the other day. When I was in Congo, we used to, when we were kids, we used to play house and stuff like that.
Right.
Well, I played teacher in Congo. I had a fake class with all the people in my neighborhood in Congo, and I used to be a fake teacher.
You were born to do this.
So this was my calling. But what's also crazy is even when I was in middle school, deep down, I've always wanted to give back and be a teacher. But playing football kind of enabled me to forget
Mm.
just about every other skill set that I possess. So being a teacher was my calling because come out of college, I was unsigned. So I didn't know what I wanted to do outside of playing football. But the moment that I got hired to be a paraeducator at the high school I graduated from, and I was working with those kids, and that's when I knew that moment, I said, this is what I want to do outside of football.
You can relate to young African men.
Yeah,
You can relate to a lot of the kids that you work with at your school. Now you're at KIPP Academy in Miami. You've also worked at the Seed School in Florida as well. So you're around these young Black and brown boys and girls. And I know you're a shining example for them. Now, when you went down to Miami, the pandemic hit as well. And you're with these young students every day as they have to transition their lives. What has that been like over 2 years?
it's been crazy. I would say when the pandemic first hit, a lot of us educators, we didn't know what to do. We had this one meeting the day before they shut down schools. We had to go over training regarding Google Classroom and all these other online platforms, right? So the next day it was chaotic. I'm talking about chaotic. Um, trying to get kids to buy in with what the teachers want and trying to get kids online. And the fact that we weren't in person to truly like convince them and be there for them. And they were away. It got to a point where um, it became scary because I was like, this can't be education, because the sole purpose of education, you're kind of like that second parent. You know, the kids come to you as a safe haven. You know what I mean? And the fact that they were away and we had to teach through the computer, that was stressful itself.
How did you make it 2 years though? I mean, we're going on, this is the third year of pandemic education. We're going on 4.
Right. I would say just perseverance, understanding your why, you know, having that drive, you know, each and every day when I come to work, I understand my why, my purpose of why I'm here, and why God put me in this situation. God put me in this position to give back. Mm. So me pouring my knowledge to these students, you know what I mean? It's so natural. But going back to this pandemic, man, it was rough because I was also in the midst of my master's program as well. So I was in my master's program and teaching online school. So I would teach for 8 hours of the day, take a 2-hour break, and then log in for my master's program. So I was doing that throughout the whole my pandemic years.
You may be the only teacher I've spoken to so far who is also a student. What type of weight is teaching all day, online, sacrificing and helping your students, and also trying to earn a degree in educational leadership?
Yes, sir. Well, it goes back to perseverance, because I've been through a plethora amount of experiences, you know what I mean? Especially going back to the Congo, living in the Civil War. And for me to persevere through that, I feel like I could persevere through anything. If I could persevere in a third world country like Congo, I could persevere through anything. Yeah. So at that time, I had to fight. I had to keep pushing, because it was draining being on the computer all day long, literally 12 hours out of my day being on the computer.
What clicked in your head as you're on the computer all this time, as you're teaching year 1, year 2, and now, you know, the third year of being under the coronavirus pandemic, that you want to team up with a partner of yours and start this organization called the Black Male Educator? You know, clearly you are a Black male educator. You are advocating for the next generations of Black male teachers, but what really sparked this initiative?
Well, great question. This was something that I've always wanted to start, where I met my partner. I met my partner at this Black menswear event in downtown Miami. So me and him talked, and he told me that he was an educator. And then when I told him I was an educator, he was like, "Oh, that's so dope." So we was kind of filling each other out. So then we got each other's contact information, and he said he had an idea that he wanted to present to me. So me and him both got on Zoom, and he presented that opportunity. He was like, "Yo, I want to start an organization predicated towards Black male educators, because there's only 2% of us. There's only 2% of us." And I realized, I thought to my own personal time, where I can count the amount of Black male educators I had in my hand. Like, I can't, like, literally, I have to think hard and deep, right? And I worked at 5 different schools already. And I've always been one of the very few, right? So that's when I realized the impact that I have, you know, especially when kids see a man that looks like them, that come from similar circumstances that they have. So when we came with the idea, we wanted to take it far, like take it to the next level.
What's the everyday experience of a Black male in education?
Great question. I would say there's this perception, right? A lot of people they assume that you're just the disciplinarian guy. That's the perception. But I wanted to change that narrative, especially when I first got into education. I realized the stigma behind Black male. You either, you know, you're just an athlete, or you're just a disciplinarian guy. But we bring much more to the table. You know what I mean? And with my experience in literacy, I've been teaching literacy for 3 years. I've been a paraprofessional for 2 years. I've been an assistant teacher for 1 year with elementary. So I have a plethora amount of experience with education, not just a PE teacher or anything like that, but in literacy.
What's the main goal of the Black Male Educator?
Well, the main goal is for us to make being a Black male educator popular, because amongst Black boys, they only see being an athlete and entertainer as something popular. You know, so you bring up the idea of being a teacher, they get turned off. But I believe that we need more Black males in education. You know what I mean? Because a lot of kids, especially in the inner city, lack that father in the household. You know, a lot of them don't have a male figure. So with Black male educators in schools, right, that would enhance things, and that will eliminate a lot of situations that these young boys will experience, not just young boys, but young girls as well.
What do you do when you see a young boy or young girl without a male figure in their lives? As a teacher, what is your role and when do you step in?
Well, number one, you can't just, it's all about patience. You got to understand the importance of patience, understanding the situation, getting to know that student. You know, we constantly talking to them, you know, and it kind of just gradually happens. You know, what's crazy is I never go into a situation thinking, you know what, I'm gonna be that father figure. No, it kind of naturally happens. What happens is I would get to know the student more and more, because again, in education, without building relationships, you shouldn't be in education if you're not a relationship builder. So I'm big on building a relationship with my students. Some more than others, of course, but for the most part, I try my best to build my relationship with each and every student that I have.
And how is this partnership, how is this organization going to help you build healthy relationships with students and also recruit and retain more Black men in education?
Well, number one, we want to talk about the benefits of being a Black man educator. We want to bring more awareness of the demand that's needed for Black men educators. We want to also create little groups where we teach young boys how to tie a tie, you know, etiquette skills, those little things, right? And I truly believe that if we instill that, these young boys see the positivity that comes behind being a Black man educator, I truly believe that we'll have a lot more. But it all starts from the youth.
Marcus Simon, who is Miss Thomas?
The singer.
The what?
The singer.
The singer.
Thank you so much, Joel, for being a positive role model to students from the DMV to the DRC, back to the MIA. You've been doing this around the country. Kip Courage Academies, Joel and Insilo, thank you so much. Is there anything else you wanted to leave us with?
Well, I just want to say, man, I appreciate you bringing me on your platform. This means a lot, and I look forward to the posting and continue to make an impact in these kids' lives.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
No problem. You have a good one.